And we are live.
Clark, I think we're live.
Not hearing any sound, Kenneth. Welcome to Who's Got Games? Welcome to Clayton County Public Schools' first Who's Got Games Challenge Finals, where our students in grades 4 through 12 are making a difference and creating social change. My name is Tanya Clark, AKA Dr. Arithmetic, and I am the coordinator for K-12 mathematics here in Clayton County. Our 5 finalists have been building analytical, problem-solving, communication, and social skills by designing games that both incorporate mathematical concepts and social change aspects. Today, they will present their ideas live before a panel of judges from the mathematics and gaming community. But before we hear from them, please welcome to the gamer stage, Clayton County's illustrious and dynamic leader, Superintendent Dr. Morcease J. Beasley.
Thank you, Dr. Clark, to your team, to all of our students, the 5 finalists, to our parents who are on, to all of the teachers and coaches and judges that have partnered with us to support our students. I'd like to say to all of you that clearly you all have got game. You got game. And so we're excited that you have embarked upon participating in this activity, this competition. And I am confident that you develop skills that will last a lifetime. I want all of you to know that we're very proud of you. We appreciate you and thank you. Thank you for taking full advantage of this opportunity to develop skills, your analytical skills, your thinking skills, your creativity, your communication, your collaboration, just to become those thinkers that we know employers want in the 21st century. So I look forward to hearing your presentations. I look forward to hearing the results of the judges. I look forward to seeing you embark upon your dreams because you got game. You all got game, and we're very proud of you. Thank you, Dr. Clark, for your leadership, to your team, to the Curriculum Instruction and Assessment Department. Thank you for creating this opportunity, this new opportunity right here in Clayton County Public Schools that will afford our students an opportunity to develop all of the skills that you mentioned, skills that we know will last and be beneficial to them for an entire lifetime. So again, congratulations, students. To our parents, thank you for supporting our students, your students. Thank you for hanging in here with Clayton County Public Schools. We're so appreciative of you, and just know that we're doing our best and we'll continue to do our best to ensure that your children are prepared to be successful beyond Clayton County Public Schools. Have a great session. Enjoy what you hear from our students, and let's continue to support our students. And to you judges, thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge, your expertise, your passion, your energy. Thank you for partnering with us as we support our students here in Clayton County Public Schools. Thank you, Dr. Clark, for this opportunity. I look forward to hearing the presentations.
And thank you, Dr. Beasley. We appreciate your leadership and the vision that you have set for Clayton County schools. So now, introducing our MC for the day, mathematics specialist, Marsha Lee.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Who's Got Games competition. We are going to get started by reviewing the agenda so we can all become familiar with the order of today's Who's Got Game events. So we're going to start off with an introduction of the judges. We will then have an overview of the event, student presentations. We will then have the deliberations from the judges. The judges will then give feedback to our students, and then we will have our closing. All right, we are now going to introduce today's judges. So first up, we have Lakeisha Etienne, an engineering manager at Pratt & Whitney in Canada. We have Dr. Malcolm DeVoe, professor of mathematics, University of West Georgia. Sean Reedy, AKA the Nerd Dog, co-founder of Legends of Learning. And we also have a special guest panelist, Stuart Jeff, who is a creative director of Legends of Learning. All right, guys, so just an overview of today's game event. Each student will present for 5 minutes, and after the 5-minute presentations, there will be 2 minutes of questions from the judges. The judges will then be moved to breakout rooms for their deliberations, and during the deliberation time, students will be asked questions, will be able to play some games, and will also be able to have a conversation with the special guests today. The judges will then return and give students feedback for each presentation, and then level winners and runner-ups will be announced at the Make Math Matter celebration on May 25th, and we'll share some more information about that later. So let's go ahead and jump right into things. We're going to get started with our elementary school presentations. First up, we have the game Charity Changes, AKA CC. The group name is the Two Animates. Our students are Danny and Aaliyah. They are representing Smith Elementary School. The principal is Dr. Lockhart, and the coaches are Miss Ashley and Miss Johnson. Again, students, reminder, you have 5 minutes to present, and then there will be 2 minutes of questioning. Students, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. Danny, what about you?
Yes.
All right. Do you guys need to share your screen?
No.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Hello, we have a phenomenal idea for this educational game.
All we need is a little bit of support. This is an amazing game that helps players learn and practice math in a fun way that won't bore them.
The game will provide the player with both entertainment and mathematical skills.
The setting of the game is the restaurant, where the gamer is the owner.
That's pretty cool. The gamer's actually learning to own his or her own business.
As the owner, the gamer will have to solve various math problems throughout the process of maintaining their business. As the gamer progresses, they learn how to manage a budget, pay bills, and how to help people in need.
This game will also provide gamers with awareness for people that are struggling with finances and can't afford food. We also have a fun and competitive way players can go up against each other. In the game, players earn points for all kinds of reasons. For budgeting, feeding the needy, leveling up, and much more. So as they gain points, they know they will see their restaurant name on the digital leaderboard.
Danny, tell us about the obstacles for this game.
There are obstacles and teasers in our game that challenge the players. Obstacles like emergency budget blockers, which just pop up and require the player to think on their feet. It's a fun, unexpected surprise.
We also have these teasers that give players a choice on whether or not they want to do extended good to feed others in need. The badges in our game represents the owner's lives. Players will have to keep at least one badge to stay in operation.
As players answer questions correctly, they keep their badges.
But if they answer incorrectly, they lose a badge for each inaccurate answer. But this makes the game more fun because players will have to work hard to keep their badges.
No badge means
Game over. The best part of our game is that the questions are mostly real-world scenarios.
with a touch of fantasy for pure entertainment.
I hope you consider using our game idea.
We believe that this game could touch the players' hearts
while also strengthening their brains. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome job. I'm sorry, did I cut you guys off?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Okay.
Finished.
Okay, I thought so. Awesome job, Danny and Aaliyah. Thank you guys so much for sharing that game with us. Judges, you now have 2 minutes to ask the students any necessary questions.
My first question is, how long do you think the player will spend playing the game, and how much time do you think it would take for a person to play a typical session of the game?
Well, I don't think that it would take the game that long. But it depends on their how
The connection is coming through a little bad.
I can't.
Maybe Danny.
Gamer that's not really as smart and that couldn't and that doesn't know as much about math, it might take them longer. It would help practice.
Okay. So I think it may take probably an hour or like 30 minutes because of our levels and how it is started. So but it may take actually 30 minutes because it's not very long. It's just 3 levels. So, and in those levels, it's just kind of a few, but you can play it for as long as you want because it is like beyond like level 3. It is, you can like start over again, and yeah.
It really depends on how smart they are and how much they know about math.
Any other questions from our judges?
I have one more question about, you mentioned that you earn, excuse me, that you earn points for doing well in the game. You also mentioned that it was based off of a real world, a lot of budget balancing and things like that. I'm curious what made you want to have points that the player earns instead of looking at, say, how much money the restaurant has earned as your way of tracking progress.
So points, we wanted to use money, but it wouldn't go well with the game and it would make it confusing. So points was used a lot. So that's how we decided to use points instead of currency.
I have one question with regard to, you mentioned donation, either donation of food or is it to, if you said to people in need. So was there any thought in potentially doing something in addition to that, whether it be financial donation, where you would deduct the earnings of the business, or a donation of your rewards that you've earned?
It is kind of like a financial donation. So like, if you get like enough, you can buy food for the homeless. Yeah, the people in need.
And it really depends. When you feed people that are in need and you do that, it's really mostly not really. So you take and it will be a word problem.
Can you elaborate on that a little more?
Right. So it would most likely, it wouldn't be as much as okay, we're going to take this much from you to do this, because then it gets the gamer more confused, and it kind of doesn't let them, it takes away from the point of feeding the needy and helping them learn math. So what we decided was we were going to, they would see it in a word as a word problem. For example, you need this many amount of money to feed the needy. So then if you have this much amount of money, take away this amount, this is how much you need, and this is how many meals you're going to feed. So that's it's basically more of a word problem in a way that they can learn math while also teaching them about like how much donations and how it is to feed and feel good about helping others.
Thank you.
I have one final question. Hopefully it's a quick one. Did you guys play any games before this that inspired you to want to make this particular game?
No, not really. But it was not really inspired by a game.
All righty. Well, thank you so much, Danny and Aaliyah, and thank you as well, judges, for your questions. Before we go to the next presentation, I want to give Danny and Aaliyah an opportunity to give special shout outs to anyone who is here to support you guys today. Do you guys want to give any shout outs to anyone who's here?
I want to give one shout out to my mom, Ashley Nelson, for being here, watching me, and encouraging me.
I want to give a shout out for my grandma because she always watches people donating to the poor, and that influenced me to create this game today for.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate your presentation and great job, Danny and Aaliyah. We are going to head over to our second elementary presentation, and that is jurisdiction. All right, we have jurisdiction, the game, and that is going to be presented today by April Touch from Morrow Elementary School, represented here by Principal Miss Burrows and the coaches, Miss Hill and Miss Kallinger. You have 5 minutes for your presentation, April, and then again, judges will have a couple of minutes to ask you some questions at the end. Are you good to go, April?
Could Mr. Andrews share his screen to my document? I already
Yes.
shared it with him.
Yes, ma'am.
Could he go back to the document and not the video right away?
Okay.
Once he presses on the title, it'll take him to a slide presentation that I made.
Okay.
Then when you press on the speech bubble, it'll lead to the video of me presenting my elevator pitch.
Awesome. All righty. So we are going to get started. Your 5 minutes will start now, April, and just let Mr. Andrews know what else he needs to press when this is finished, okay? All right, your 5 minutes starts now.
Do you feel as though people are neglecting the thought of helping teach unfair prison sentences? Well, with this game of mine, kids and adults alike could learn about prison sentences and jail sentences. This game that I am presenting allows people to not only learn how unfair a sentence could be, but it could help them with various math equations. It also has dialogue options that can help you feel as though you're really helping. In the courtroom, you will have to make choices and answer questions so your client isn't guilty. Getting it wrong or using the wrong dialogue could prove your client as guilty. This video game could help inspire children to stand up and spread the word of unfair prison sentences. The benefits of playing my game would be to learn math equations as well as learning prison sentences and making a social impact. If you decide to help me in the creation of this game, then I'll hope to see you in the future.
Okay. April, is there anything else that you would like to present with that video?
Nope, that's all.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, April. Judges, do we have any questions for April?
I have a question. Hey, April. I wanted to ask a question about the math component that you incorporated. Would you elaborate on the math piece that you put into the game?
To prove your client as guilty or not guilty, you would have to answer math questions that progressively get harder as you continue. And when you answer them correctly, it'll push you towards innocence, but if you get it wrong, that could be a step closer to proving your client as guilty.
Okay. Have you thought about what kinds of math questions you wanted to integrate into that particular game just yet? Which ones come to mind that you've been thinking about?
The player could choose multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, but it depends on what grade level you are and what questions you'd like to incorporate in it.
Okay, thank you.
So essentially there are levels of difficulty. So easy, medium, hard.
Yes.
And thank you, April, for your video. That was great. And question on, are they earning badges? So like, let's say, I beat a level, I level up, right? I prove, I master the math, I prove my client is not guilty. Do I earn badges as I'm going through the game, or how does that kind of work?
Earning badges will get you more clients as you go on, because good positive reviews would get you more popularity and more clients. That would hurt you.
So it sounds like there's a little bit of like a social aspect to it where, if I'm doing well and I'm making clients not, proving them not guilty, then other people in this world are able to see that, and they see, oh, this lawyer is really doing a good job, and so this is someone I want to have plead my case. Is that kind of right?
Yes.
April, I have a question for you. Really powerful concept. I'm really impressed. One thing though that I'm curious about is, I think that your idea about trying to help people understand how unfair sentences could be is a great message. One question though is, if my goal is to defend these people and make sure that they aren't convicted, it seems like I'm going to have to lose the case a lot in order to really get the message about how unfair all of this can be. And that is totally cool and very powerful. But I'm curious about your thoughts on how you can help the player kind of come to terms with that failure, or if that's even how you're looking at it. Or is this, more about like winning the case, or is it more about sort of losing in a way that helps expand your mind and understanding of our criminal justice system?
My game is more about helping explain and spread the word unfair prison sentences, as if you were to commit a crime of no significance, but you'd still get lots of time in jail. That would be unfair to you because your family members could miss you, and you didn't even do something that bad. You still get under prison sentence.
How does the prison sentence come into play when you're either going to find your clients, or someone, the judge will find your client, or the jury will find your client guilty or innocent, but how the only way that the prison sentencing will come into play is if they are guilty. So is that intended to show essentially that's intended, it sounds like that's what's intended to be the main message. But say you get a player that never loses a trial, the prison sentence message, I think it's the same thing that Stuart was getting at, never really comes across.
At the beginning, the player may be shown a cut scene where they have the trial, and they see that when their client is proved as guilty, they get a really unfair time. So they continue to try and get better and prove their client is not guilty so that they could prevent that.
Oh, very well understood. Thank you.
All right. I think we have all of our judges' questions. And I just want to thank you again, April, for your presentation today. Thank you so much. And before we get to the next presentation, I want to give you the same opportunity. Are there any special shout outs that you have to anyone who is here to support you today, or anyone who has supported you throughout this process?
I'd like to shout out Mrs. Hill because she answered a lot of my questions that I had about this Zoom meeting, and she also helped me ease my nervousness throughout.
Awesome. Thank you so much, April. We do appreciate you. And we are going to move right over to our third presentation from elementary school. We have, the game is called Solar Vaccination. Our students are here from Arnold Elementary School, represented by Principal Mr. Allen. The coaches are Ms. Johnson and Ms. Sterling, and our students are Emmanuel, Gregory, Tristan, and Deshawn. Welcome, guys. I just want to make sure that we can all hear you guys. Emmanuel, check in.
Hello.
Hello. Gregory, check in.
Tell them that they're not. They're at home. They're at home.
Okay, so is it just who's sitting next to you, Emmanuel?
Tristan Dollar.
Okay. Hey, Tristan. So we just have Emmanuel and Tristan today, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right, guys. If you guys are ready, your 5 minutes is going to start as soon as you guys get started.
No, we need to share. Can we share? Can we share a screen?
Yes, you sure can. Give us 1 second. Okay, you guys can go ahead and share, and it will stop this share.
So, all right. Vax recovery. There is one traitor among us. Introduction.
Ask them if they are ready for you to start talking.
Are you ready for us to start talking?
Yes, sir. Your 5 minutes is starting now.
Introduction.
Okay, so here are a table of contents on what we're going to be showing you today. To start it off, we're going to be showing you our inspiration and setting. We want students to practice their multiplication facts while helping the galaxy rid itself of the COVID-19 pandemic. How to play. When you go to each planet, you'll meet people who are infected with COVID-19, and they are too weak to complete their multiplication facts. The only way to give them a vaccine from a vaccinator is to solve a multiplication problem yourself. Planets closer to Earth are called the inner planets. You will have to solve single-digit problems in 30 seconds or less. Planets further from Earth will have multi-digit problems. You will have to solve these problems in 2 minutes or less. If you get the answer wrong, the whole team has to leave the planet without a vaccine and travel to another planet closer to Earth. Step 1. Players join the game and choose their character. Step 2. Travel to each planet and solve the multiplication problem. Step 3. If you are the traitor, get the problem wrong. Step 4. Work out each problem and shoot out the vaccine. Step 5. Discuss who is the traitor at the end of the game.
Storyline. COVID-19 has spread rampant through Earth and other planets. A vaccine was created, and this team of players are the only people who have vaccines. They work with math problems to help neighboring planets. Character roles. Characters. Engineer and doctor. You have to use your special skills to help infected citizens on different planets get their COVID-19 vaccine. You can only get a vaccine by answering multiplication problems correctly. Trader. You will have to act like you are helping the team, but you will sabotage the mission on purpose by getting questions wrong. You want all citizens on the planet to disappear. You need to complete multiplication problems to get a vaccine. You should report planets that you cannot help. React to the traitor sabotage. Resolve issues when traitor is found. Doctor, engineer, traitor. Engineer, power boost vaccinated to get hints for harder multiplication problems. Doctor, heals 2 people with 1 multiplication fact. Earth. Thanks.
You skipped a
Brought you to you by Arnold Elementary School scholars Emmanuel Betsy, Tristan Dollar, Gregory Ward, and Deshaun Roberts.
All right, guys. So we have Emmanuel and Tristan with us today. Awesome presentation, guys. Judges, do you have any questions for our 2 young men?
I have a question. It sounded like you were introducing character classes to style games.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Could you come a little bit closer to the microphone, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
It sounded like you were introducing character classes to an Among Us style game. There was a doctor, a trader. I'm curious about like how those different roles. So I'm assuming that if you are the trader, you still pick a character class, like still a doctor or one of those other ones, or am I misunderstanding kind of the role of the doctor and the other people that you outlined?
Yes. So each character role has their own special ability except for the traitor. Because if he's trying to mess up the team, for him to have a power, it'll be too easy for him to mess up the whole team. So we have decided not to give him a power and just let him get stuff wrong on purpose and act like he's a part of the team.
So is the team trying to find the traitor then? Like in a
Yes.
So,
yes, at the end of the game, they will find the traitor.
Based on
all the information that they got.
So if I saw that he was not using a doctor power and not using any of the other powers, would that be evidence that he may be the traitor? Or
yes.
That
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That will most definitely help you.
Are you expected to get answers right to counterbalance what the trader's doing?
Yes, he could get stuff wrong or right to kind of throw you off his trail.
But if I'm playing as the engineer, I have to get more answers right so that I offset the wrong answers that the trader is getting. Is that right?
Yes, that's how he messes up the team. He requires you to work harder because of his mishaps.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions from our judges? All right. Emmanuel and Tristan, again, I want to thank you guys for your presentation today. And before you guys go, are there any special shout outs that you want to give to anyone that is either here to support you today or anyone who has helped you throughout this process?
I would like to thank my math teacher, Ms. Robinson, my principal, Mr. Allen, the assistant principal, Ms. Chapman, and our school, Arnold Elementary, plus my family.
I would like to thank my mom, my grandpa, my grandma, and my teachers, and some of my classmates. They all helped me figure out this game and also to make it here.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. All right. So this wraps up our elementary school presentations. We are going to move right along into our middle school presentation. And we are going to welcome to the stage Joshua. His game is called the Social Math Game. He is here representing Kendrick Middle School, Principal Dr. Duggar, and his coach is Miss Gilbert. Joshua, just want to check in, make sure we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome, welcome, Joshua. Do you need to share your screen or present anything?
Yes, I would like to.
All righty.
Okay.
You can go ahead whenever you're ready. All righty. We do see your screen. And whenever you are ready, I will start your 5 minutes. So whenever you get talking, your 5 minutes will begin.
I am ready.
All righty.
Hello. My name is Joshua Otoji. I'm from Kendrick Middle School, 7th grade. And here is the social math game. Why did we make this game? We made this game to show students that you can connect real world situations to mathematical skills. Are you ready? Are you ready to go on this journey of learning math and stay woke? That if you are, that is why I'm here. I am here to convince you to get the social impact math game. I am fluent in math computation. I am able to problem solve and reason. I am a straight A student in math, so I know what I am doing. My game addresses the social issues of unemployment, racism, healthcare, and everything that has to do with everything that happened in the last year while connecting mathematical skills. This game will put you in perspective of dramatic changes that happen. This game is user-friendly, easy to navigate, it incorporates learning and practice. You can complete it using technology. This will be rapid fire. It is a quiz game. So first you will start out with a sample question about a social topic. Then you will answer a question about the game. And then you will read a slide about the social issue you have gotten. You will do this for 4 different parts of the game, rack up points, and be number 1 on the leaderboard. Thank you.
All right, Joshua. Thank you so much for your presentation and for telling us about your game. Judges, do you have any questions for Joshua?
Yeah. So Joshua, do you have any other reward system besides the points in your game?
Well, I have another. I have two different. It will be points and it will be coins. Those coins can also help you go up the leaderboard.
How do you earn points versus coins? Like, what do you do differently to get the different?
Yeah.
For points, you will have to answer sample questions about mathematical skills and other questions about mathematical skills. For coins, you will have to answer a question about the social issue in that part.
The questions are kind of like a two-part question, right? There's like a math part and then some additional question about like the social issue that math question is related to, or am I misunderstanding, or is it kind of distinct, math and social?
It is distinct. There's one question about math and there's one question about social.
Have you thought about the type of math questions that you want to integrate in that particular game? Can you give me examples of those?
You will get fractions, you will get circumference, you will get algebra, and you will get multiplication.
Thank you, sir.
And can you give an example of one of the social questions, what that might be like?
One of the social questions would be like, in unemployment, you will get a social question about last year there was 67,000 unemployed people. This year there's now 100,000 unemployed people. How much has the unemployment rate grew since the beginning of this year? That is an example of a question you will get.
Have you thought about the game?
Can you repeat that? I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I was asking how many levels are in the game and how does it progress?
There is 4 levels. First, there's unemployment and fractions. There is racism and unit rates. There is healthcare multiplication, and there is COVID and circumference. You will answer a question about unemployment. Then you will answer a question about fractions. Then you will answer a question that's combining the two. Read some paragraphs of unemployment and read some paragraphs of fractions, and then you will move on to the next level.
And you mentioned that's a social piece. So where does that come in? Are students able to collaborate in answering questions together? Or how does that piece work?
This is social because students can collab with their teachers. You can show this in like classrooms. You can play 2v2, 1v1, or all four of you guys against one person.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Judges, if there are no more questions, again, I want to thank you, Joshua, for your presentation today. Really, really great job. And before you go, I want to give you the same opportunity to give special shout outs to anyone who is here with you to support you, or if anyone who has helped you along the way in your project.
Yes, I will first like to shout out my father, Dr. Matthew Wakoji. He helped me and encouraged me and introduced me to a man named Zig Ziglar, who gave me a quote that says, you are born a winner, but you have to prepare and then plan to win, and then you can expect to win. I also want to give a shout out to my homeroom and math teacher, Miss Gilbert. She was the one who introduced me to this whole competition and helped me along the way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joshua, for your time today. Great job. All right, we are going to keep it moving, guys. We are right on time with, right on schedule with time. We're going to move to our high school presentation, which will be our final presentation for today. We are moving to the game Hospital Sim. This game will be presented by Shay, and Shay is representing here from Charles Drew High School, represented by Principal Miss Trice and Coach Miss Burnley. Shay, just want to check in, make sure we can hear you.
I'm here.
All right, awesome. We can hear you. All right. Do you need to share your screen?
No, thank you.
Okay. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right. Your 5 minutes starts now.
Okay. Good day. My name is Shay, and I'm making a game called Hospital Sim, a first-person realistic point of view game. It's difficult to incorporate life skills and fun together, but this game does just that. In this game, there are two modes, online and offline, just in case you want to play alone or with a potential friend. In the online mode, a real player fills each role, but in the offline, you play a role of your choosing and level them up. The roles are manager, pharmacist, radiologist, psychiatrist, therapist, nurse, surgeon, surgical technologist, front desk worker, and food provider. Each role is important, and all players work together to keep the hospital up and running. This game is great to bring people together through quarantine because of the multiplayer option. This game, as well as being fun, is educational and helps the players pick up valuable skills that they could potentially use in the future. Skills such as math solving, communication, teamwork, flexibility, time management, receptive attitude, patience, and adaptability. The most important skill in this game of trading is communication. Communication through patience and the other real-life players in the game. This game is kid-friendly, but appeals to all audiences. My goal for this game is to incorporate learning and skills with fun. I know for sure you can help me with my goal. I would like to say that through each role, you will be solving math problems depending on your grade level. You can do subtraction, multiplication, algebra, and it just depends on your grade level through the state. And I like to say my inspiration for this game would be VR gaming, because VR gaming is very realistic and very realistic. And me wanting to be a neurosurgeon when I grow up, I know all types of fields when you grow up are hard, and I want anyone, no matter how young they are, to keep their goals if they want to be in the medical field as they get older. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right, awesome job, Shay. Judges, do you have any questions for Shay?
I'd like to understand more about what you actually do as a player in the game. Like what's the kind of moment to moment game like?
Okay, so in the multiplayer game, for example, let's say the manager. Okay, let me see. For example, the manager has to make sure all the other roles are doing their roles correctly in the multiplayer game. So for example, the front desk workers having an angry patient and is unable to calm them down, they can answer word problems to like successfully calm down the patient to solve the issue. And all the other roles were like that. We're using word problems to figure out issues depending on their role.
Have you thought about the type of word problems that you're going to ask? Can you hear me? I'm sorry. Shay?
I think she's frozen.
No.
No, I can hear you.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. It froze. I think it went away. Can you repeat it one more time for me?
Did you ask a question? I was answering. a different question, I guess.
We heard the ending of your last question, Shay. I don't think you heard his question. So I think we're just ready for the next question.
Can I hear that again?
Yeah, so I was asking, have you thought about the type of math question that was going to be inside the game world?
Yes.
Because you mentioned answering questions to calm down the patient. So I'm just interested in what kind of math question that you were thinking about asking within the game world.
So basically, you'll be asked a math question for like elementary schoolers. You could pick multiplication, division, subtraction, addition. It just depends on what you're trying to work on at the moment. And yeah.
So when they get it answered correct, does it calm the patient down or?
All right. So there will be answer choices. So when you solve the question, the answer choice that has your answer by it, that's the one you pick to that's the one you pick, and it should be, if it's correct, then it calms them down. If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Okay. So does that mean that when a question is answered, it doesn't affect the patient or not? Or no?
When they do not answer correctly, the patient does not calm down.
Okay.
In the game, I forgot to mention, in the game, you have 3 chances to mess up, because like in the medical field, you can't really mess up that much. So making it like a little settler, you have 3 chances to mess up before you go back to the last checkpoint.
Okay. Do you have a reward system that the player gets besides just getting answer correct? Like, do they get something increased on a health bar, or maybe some type of go ahead.
Yeah, they level. So depending on how many questions you get right, as the game progresses, you level up. And this is like a game that you would play for like a long time, like a game that it saves and then you go back into every day, like that type of game. And as you answer correctly, it levels up and the questions get harder.
Okay, thank you.
So how do the people without patients, how do they earn points? So for example, the front desk worker.
The front desk worker, let me see. The front desk worker is, so the front desk does have patients. The front desk, when patients come into the hospital, they have to use communication skills to get them where they need to be. So they have to figure out if it's like an emergency, so they go straight back, or if they have to wait, they have to use communication skills for that.
And were you inspired by any particular game when you were coming up with this design?
Like I said, like VR games, since they're very realistic and you're looking straight into it, and combined with me wanting to be a neurosurgeon, I just wanted to like incorporate that all into a game.
All right. Thank you so much. Oh, sorry. Was there another question, judges?
No, thank you, Shay.
All righty. Thank you so much, judges, and thank you so much, Shay, for your presentation. Just like everyone else, I want to give you an opportunity to give shout outs to anyone that is here to support you today, or anyone that you just want to shout out that assisted you along the way.
I would like to thank my parents, Yannicka and Mark, for pushing me through this, because I was kind of like losing a little bit of motivation for a little bit, but they pushed me through it. And thank you to my teacher, Miss Burnley, for like talking to me throughout my schedule, and my uncle Quintel for coming here today. And thank you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. So we are going to transition our judges to the breakout rooms while they will have their deliberations. And we are going to do a couple of things while that happens. So.
Who's next? Who's next?
All right. All righty, guys. Sorry, I was accidentally moved into one of the breakout rooms, so I just joined you all back. Okay, so it's time to ask an expert. And just 1 second, let me make sure that Mr. Reedy is not in a breakout room because I think he is. Okay, just 1 second, guys. And it'll be just 1 more second, guys. We're just making sure that all of our students are with us in the main room.
Hello, sorry about that. I had to get my materials to the other judges.
No problem. All righty. I was just making sure that you were going to join us. So let me go ahead and introduce you. So it's time to ask an expert. Let's welcome Mr. Stuart Jeff with Legends of Learning. Legends of Learning helps teachers make classrooms fun and productive learning environments through research-driven, curriculum-based games. They use ongoing original research to create a marketplace filled with an epic range of curriculum-based games for stronger subject mastery and classroom engagement. Let's pick Mr. Jeff's brain with any burning questions for someone who is in the gaming industry. Use your chat and drop questions that you can think of. Also, feel free, students, to unmic and ask Mr. Jeff some questions about the gaming industry.
So just to add to that a little bit, thanks for the introduction. That was really awesome. I actually haven't been with Legends of Learning for terribly long. I've only been with them for about 2 years. My background is actually in the traditional gaming industry, where I've been making video games professionally for 20 years now, and worked on a bunch of different titles on a bunch of different platforms. And learning games is actually the new thing for me. It's video games that have been a lifelong passion for me. I've done programming, a lot of design, more of the management and studio direction sort of side of it, know a lot about the business side as well. So, any of you who are interested in making games one day, fire away with any question you've got, and I'm happy to help you all out.
I have a
also,
question.
if you want to put it on my face so we can talk a little bit more. I feel weird looking at a picture of myself.
I have a question.
Yeah.
While thinking of the idea of the game, when you're thinking of thoughts, Does when you get multiple details about the game and start thinking of new ideas for the game, does that slow down the process? And if it does, do you think making those ideas and thoughts are worth it?
So I got a little bit of breakup in that, but could you rephrase it one more time just to make sure I got the right question?
When you're making your game and when you have ideas for the game and when you have multiple ideas for the game ideas you think of make it harder and make it have to have like a longer period of time to make the game. And do you think that time going into adding more details makes the game better?
That's a great question. So a couple of things there. One is that the ideas are really going to be the easy part. Like they're just going to be coming to you constantly the whole time, especially after you've spent decades playing video games. You've got a lot of inspiration to draw from, a lot of different things you could try out. What I think about though is that really you want to start with more of a sense for how you want the player to feel while they're playing the game, and really think about what you want their experience to be like. And I actually find it more useful to start just thinking about what is the player actually going to do here? Are they going to be controlling a character? What does success look like in the game? What does failure look like in the game? Is there a big story component? What kind of things will the player be doing? And I really just think about it from a high level to start out with, just get some basic ideas and try to translate that into something that I can put on the screen right away, something I can build and start actually playing with. And then you use a process that we call iterative development, where every day you're playing what you're working on, and trying to think about how you could make it better, how you could make it closer to your idealized version of what you want that player to experience. So it's a real exploration process of kind of feeling out what you're going for. And constantly throughout that whole process, you're going to be having new ideas, you're going to be drawing from new inspirations. And that's all important, because what that will result in is something that feels unique, something that the world hasn't seen. The more sort of inspiration you can draw from, I think the better your games end up being. But it's always kind of important to kind of bring it back to making it about the player and what the player is actually doing and what you're hoping that the player will feel while they're playing the game, and kind of keeping the focus there. Hopefully that helps a bit.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so the short version is focus on doing, less on thinking. Do and then evaluate, and then do again, and then evaluate, and then do again, instead of getting kind of lost in thought and trying to map it all out in your head before you even start the work.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 questions. What type of coding language do you use? Who inspired you, or what inspired you to code? And is it hard to code?
Oh, good questions. So when it comes to programming, my background is actually in programming. I got my degree in computer science from Georgia Tech back in the 90s. So it's been a while, but I still to this day program almost every day. So for me, what I've really gotten to the point in my career where I think of myself as kind of platform agnostic. Different tools are called for under different circumstances, and that includes programming languages. Lately, I've been doing a lot with C# and Unity. I like Unity a lot because it's very quick to develop in. I've been using it a long time, so it's something I'm very familiar with, and I almost think about it as like kind of my sketch pad. Like I can just whip up ideas very quickly over there and try things out. And C# is a great language for that as well. It's very friendly in that regard. But you may not be able to deliver your game using C# and Unity, especially in a commercial context. sometimes, it may make more sense to use Unreal, writing your code in C++. Other times it may actually make more sense to develop an engine in-house. And a lot of times that's going to be in C++ as well. So it's really about like what you're trying to do, and then you select the tool that's appropriate for that. But Unity is a great place to start with your learning. And honestly, something like Scratch is even better because it really helps you just kind of like understand the high level concepts without getting so caught up in having to make your syntax perfect. So it's a really great tool for just learning. But I think programming is, to me, it's kind of second nature at this point. But I truly believe that anyone can learn how to program. Really, the trick about programming is it's learning a set of tools for just breaking down complex problems into problems that you can solve. So it's a way of thinking that I think is really beneficial to everyone. And then the actual mechanics of typing in the code and getting it to work, that all can be learned over time. But being exposed to that way of thinking, I think, is useful for anybody. And so I hope it becomes a bigger and bigger part of everyone's education in the future.
Also, I think we have some questions in the chat. Dr. Clark, Tiffany, are there any questions in the chat?
Yes, we have a question from Emmanuel Betsy. It says, how did you get the idea for Legends of Learning? And then how did you get into the gaming industry?
So I definitely would, with Legends of Learning, I came to the company about 2 years ago. They hired me as a consultant to help them evaluate what they were doing with their classroom product. They already had something that they had built up. And as you know, you may or may not know, but Legends of Learning involves thousands of different curriculum aligned mini games. And most of those I had absolutely nothing to do with the design of them. The thing I have focused on with Legends of Learning, though, is the Awakening game, which you can play in the web browser. Was kind of our first pass at that. And over the past year, we spent a lot of time working on the iOS and Android version, which is kind of a different take on the game. And then right now we're working on a new version that'll be launching next year that you'll be able to play both on iOS and Android and the web. So the new version is much more of a multiplayer sort of MMO environment where you're going around together, doing learning activities together. So the idea, though, honestly, a lot of it started from really more of like just a pragmatic approach. Was thinking about, this was a new company to me. I took a look at the existing staff and their skill set and tried to think of a game that I thought that the team could execute really well on, that I thought that we could build relatively quickly, and that I thought would have a really good way to integrate math and science questions directly. They had the company already had thousands of questions about math and science, and the thing that I really wanted to focus on was trying to make sure that every kid was sort of intrinsically motivated to answer the question correctly to help them do better in the game. So it wasn't just about getting the right answer, but there was real value to you as a player for getting the question right. So that was a lot of what went into it. And with most games, the thing that many people may not realize is that there's so many factors that go beyond just what would be fun for the player to do when you're designing a game. So you really have to think about the team you have and what skills they bring to the table. Every team is different. Every team can do different things well and also have weaknesses. So you really have to take that into account with the design. You have to think about the business case, like who's going to play this game? Why would they play it? Will they pay for it? Where's the money going to come from? Because without having some kind of money, you won't be able to play the staff. So that's always a factor. And then finally, there is that, what am I passionate about? What am I excited about trying to give to players? And all of that kind of comes together to form game concepts. But keep in mind, like with a lot of these games, we're talking about a multi-year investment. Like you're going to be spending probably years of your life working on this game. So you generally want to try to come up with something that you're very passionate about, you're excited about seeing through to the end, and that you can stay committed to. The other question about how I got into the gaming industry, when I graduated college, there were no game degree programs. There was no game design major. That wasn't a thing. I'm 43 years old now and been doing this since I was 21. So when I came out, programming or art were like the two ways you got in. And I was a programmer. And I thought that was my life's passion, was programming. But, after a few years into it, I quickly realized that programming was really just a means to an end for me. Doing it isn't all that exciting to me. It's what I make with the code that gets me excited. And, when I got into the industry, I was exposed to what it was like to actually design games and what it even meant to be a game designer. I actually got into the industry from a buddy of mine from college who we were working together in the same research lab in college. And I had tried to get him a job with a tech startup that I was working for in New York, and that actually failed. But later he got a job in games, knew I loved games. And so he reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to check it out. And, I was hooked from the first moment, and been making games ever since.
Okay, that was very interesting. Thank you.
I have one more question. What will you do if this doesn't work? Like, it's been going on for years, but what if it doesn't work?
You mean just in general, like what if games don't work, or specifically Legends of Learning?
No, like after a few years, I know that you've been working here for a few years, but what would you do if it suddenly just fell off the platform?
That's actually a great question. And I really think everybody should be thinking about that when they're getting into their career. What is the backup plan? And the reality of video game development is that it's a very rough industry. It's hard to get into the industry to begin with, and many companies, you're at the whims of the public generally. So if the game does really well, everybody's doing really well. If the game does poorly, though, everybody's in a lot of trouble. And a lot of times that means you have to lay off, a ton of the staff. And sometimes that can happen even when the game does do well. For example, I was working at a company called Big Huge Games. We made a game in 2012 called Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. It was a big action role-playing game. Did all the PlayStation, Xbox, PC, all that stuff. And we sold, I believe that we had sold over 2 million copies of the game at $60 a pop, which sounds like a tremendous amount of money. And it is a tremendous amount of money. But we were part of a larger company that was trying to make this huge multiplayer game owned by a baseball player, Kurt Schilling. It was all in the news. He, basically like ran through all of that money and couldn't afford to keep the studio open. The entire studio shut down. And not only did all of us lose our jobs, but the state of Rhode Island lost like $110 million in taxpayer money. It was a huge mess. The whole thing just kind of collapsed. And we did our jobs well. People loved the game. It sold really well. And still, even when all that happens, you never know. So you've always kind of got to have that backup plan. For me, I'm a lifelong game developer. I pretty sure I'll be making games until I die in one way or another. At this point, I have enough friends in the industry, and it is a large industry in that there's a lot of games made, but it's also a small industry at the same time. There's not a tremendous number of people that have been around for 20 years. And, so when a lot of people, the companies make sort of come and go, but those relationships with those other people, they persist forever. So we're always kind of looking at, okay, let's spin up another studio and start up a game over here, or hey, you know, so-and-so is working on this new game. Let's all go over there and work on it. So it is really fluid like that. It's really exciting. A little bit like Hollywood in that way, in that, you know, the projects kind of pop up and everybody piles on and makes them happen. And, you know, if it takes off, cool, everybody sticks with it. If it doesn't, you know, the next project comes down the pipe and everybody runs over there and works on that. So, you know, you just kind of have to keep your eyes open and just look for what's getting you excited in the moment, and then, you know, chase it with everything you got and just see where it goes.
I got a question. How do you know when the NID of yours is going to be like a big game?
That's a great question. And you know, I don't know that there is a really precise formula here, but I will say that there are certain types of ideas where it just feels really right, and you know that it's really right. Generally, it's not necessarily about like an entire game concept. A lot of times this happens with, you know, this part is not fun. How can I make it fun? And like something clicks and you know, okay, this is not only going to fix this problem, but it works so well with everything else we've got going on. And you hope that you have like a series of those sorts of things. But the truth of the matter is I do not think that like that perfect design and that perfect team always translates into a success. There's plenty of examples of games where brilliant games, really strong, but they don't find a market, or like, because a lot of people don't realize, but I did a quick Google before this. There's over 1 million games that you could right now download on some device you own and play. You know, so making one out of those 1 million games, most people have no idea that any of those games even exist. So there's a big challenge in just getting people to know that your game exists. And sometimes the really successful games, you know, aren't necessarily the best games. And sometimes they're really obvious. Like a couple of examples here is, you know, a game like Fortnite. A really good friend of mine is the lead programmer on Fortnite. A lot of people don't realize Fortnite was struggling horribly for about 5 years within Epic. It was just the save the world mode, where you all have to like get together and try to fight off these zombie hordes. And it wasn't until they introduced the battle royale mode that it just took off overnight. And that was one of the few times where battle royale was kind of hot at the time. PUBG was big. There were a couple of others. I played that game one time and knew this is going to be huge, like crazy huge. And, you know, and it, because it's just one of those perfect ideas. It's like, it's the perfect implementation of a really clear idea that you know is going to have a lot of traction. But honestly, that's the only time I can think of that it was obvious to me that it was going to be a huge hit. There's been plenty of times that were not like that. And then other games like Among Us, like Among Us is a game. That game was out for years. No one cared. Like it was out for 2 solid years without anyone know it existed. They were struggling. And then a streamer started streaming it last summer, and it just took off like a rocket. And, you know, it was just about the right people seeing it at the right time, and that was enough to get traction. I think the idea was always cool, but like it took them years to find an audience for the idea. So, you know, Rocket League is another one. One of my close friends is the creative director for Rocket League. That company almost went out of business for so many times with Rocket League as their main title. They ended up changing the name of it to Rocket League, and it was the name change that actually really helped people get excited about. I can't even remember the old name. That's how bad it was. But you know, things like that, where, you know, it's just so hard to predict. There's a luck factor, there's a marketing factor. So, you know, you just have to do the best work you can, try to find something you're excited about and you believe in, and then just kind of see where everything shakes out.
All right. Thank you so much. Students, great questions. And we really appreciate you, Mr. Jeff, for sharing your insightful information. This has been amazing and really inspirational. Students, you guys have asked some really great questions. Our judges are still deliberating, and we got one more great comment for you, Mr. Jeff. It says, "You seem like a great guy," and
Thank you.
And so just really want to thank you so much for sharing with our students, because we were not anticipating this many questions, but the students really were interested and engaged with what the information that you shared with them. So
I do want to say one more thing, because I can't miss this opportunity to talk to you guys. One thing I want to make super clear to all of you guys is that your voices are needed in this industry so bad. We need to expand the diversity of our space. There are, a lot of us started out playing games when we were little kids. And, a lot of games are made from that perspective of the people that have been just, playing games their whole life. And that is such a small part of what's possible with this medium. I think that we have the opportunity to speak to people in a way that no other piece of interactive entertainment can. I think we have more power than film, more power than books even. But we have to learn how to harness this medium. And I think the only way we're going to do that is if we have diverse voices in the space. We need women. We need minorities. We need those perspectives to make, what we can do in this industry so much bigger than what it is right now. So please keep trying, keep working. It's going to take all of us working together, and we can make a much more powerful world that I think is better for everyone.
Thank you again for motivating our students and for your inspirational words, Mr. Jeff. We really do appreciate you. And while the judges are still in deliberation, we're just going to run a couple of quick trivia games until they come back. So students, it's supposed to be fun. We're going to have a little bit of fun here. Use your chat boxes to enter your responses. There's going to be two types of games. One, you're going to hear some game music, right, from famous video games. And we want you to drop the name of that game in the chat. And then we'll also have some random trivia games. Are y'all ready? All right, let's get started. Name that game tune.
We can't hear.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to a question. What gaming system was released in 2020? All right. Oh, Joshua rang in first with the correct answer. It is the PS5. Thank you so much, Joshua. There was actually the PS5 and the Xbox Series XS. So I did see Xbox in there, but it wasn't specific, Shay, to which one we were looking for. So great job, Joshua. First one ringing in. Emmanuel is the first one to get both questions right. All right. All right. Good job, guys. We're going to go to the next. Okay. One moment.
I can't hear it.
Yes. Just 1 second. Let me fix that really quickly. All right, Danny Nope, I'm sorry. Aaliyah was actually first. Good job, Aaliyah. It is Mario. All right, what game uses V-Bucks as currency? Ooh, that was quick. That was quick with that one. All right, Emmanuel was first. Fortnite. Good job. All right, next one. Name that game tune. It's coming. All right, let's try one more time. There it goes. Oh, that was fast. You guys typed really quickly. Emmanuel was first again. That is Pac-Man. Good job. I see Miss Burnley try to get in there too. And Miss Eve. All right, who steals all the bananas in the Donkey Kong game? This one was a tough one for me. Let's see. Buzz is in first. Oh, Emmanuel, you got it. I thought no one would get this. It is King R. Rule and the awesome job, guys. All right, name that game tune.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was.
Daniel is quick, y'all.
Them is my real test. To train them is my cause.
Awesome, you guys. All right. It is Pokemon.
Far and wide.
All right. Who was on the cover of the video game Madden NFL 2018? No peeking on YouTube. I mean, on Google. Nope. 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 Okay, I'm going to give you guys a hint. He is known as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Yes! There you go, Camille. It is Tom Brady. Good job, y'all. All right, name that game tune. Try it one more time, Kenneth. Come in. Great, how are you? Okay. Okay, we will go to the next question. That one is not, oh, there it is. Yes, Emmanuel. Emmanuel is quick, y'all. It is Donkey Kong. All right. What was Mario's first profession? I thought so too, April. I'm not even going to lie. Nope, it is not a plumber, y'all. I thought so too. Nope, he's not a pizza chef. Nope, he's not a pilot or a doctor. All right, I think we finally stumped you guys. He's not a baker. He was actually a carpenter, y'all. So Mario's first job was a carpenter. Name that game tune. I know, I was just as shocked, Aaliyah. Pokemon. Nope, close, Shay. It is actually Crossy Roads, guys. That was Crossy Roads. That was a new one. I wasn't familiar with that. All right, next question. What was the first handheld video game? You can type your answers in the chat, the letter or the name. It is actually not the Game Boy. I thought it was too. I know, I thought it was Game Boy also. Yes, Aaliyah, Auto Race. Good job. Aaliyah was the first one. She put the initials AR. Good job. All right, name that game tune. We got a couple more. Sega. Yep, Camille got it. Quick, quick, quick. That is correct. That is Sonic the Hedgehog. All right, next question. All right, what popular dance came from the video game Fortnite? That was quick. Joshua got it. It is the floss. And name that game tune. Do we need a hint? We talked about it earlier when we talked about the goat. Yes, good job, Shay. It is Madden. All right, guys. Thank you so much for playing with us. As we wait on the judges, we're just going to listen to a quick song while the judges trickle back in, and we will wrap up today's presentation.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, cause I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
The judges are just about done and about to move back into the room.
All right.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Stay well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman. No time to talk. Music loud, women won't. I've been kicked around since I was born. And now it's alright, it's okay. And you may look the other way. We can try to understand. I don't got time to stay away. Whether you're the with you, stay alive. Feel the city working and everybody shaking and stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay when I get low and I get high, and if I can't get even, I really try. Cause the wings are tapping on my shoes, I'm dancing, and I just can't stop. Now it's alright, that's okay. I just see another day. We can try to understand. The New York Times don't tell no man. What do you want? You want to stay in the light, stay in the light. I'm sitting like in heaven, because I'm shaking and we're staying alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. Stay alive. It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. Well, you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman. No time to talk. Music loud, women won't. I've been kicked around since I was born. And now it's alright, it's okay. And you may look alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking and we're staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. Staying alive. What you want? When I get low and I get high, and if I can't get even, I really try. Got the wings of heaven on my shoes, I'm dancing, and I just can't lose. Now it's alright, it's okay. I live to see another day. We can try to understand the New York Times of fame. Whether you're a brother or whether you're a mother, you're staying alive, staying alive. Feel the city breaking and everybody shaking, and we're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive. I'm staying alive, not going nowhere. Somebody help me. Somebody help me. I'm staying alive. Let's go.
All right. Thank you so much for being patient as our judges deliberated. We have our judges back in the room with us. Welcome back, judges. Maybe you caught a little bit of our dance party at the end. But the judges are going to provide some feedback for each of each of the groups or games that were presented today. So we're just going to go in the order in which the presentations were done, and we're going to start with charity changes. Judges, can you please provide some feedback for charity changes game?
Sure. I have been elected as spokesperson, but other judges, please jump in there if there's something I'm forgetting or something you'd like to add. So for charity changes, first of all, really interesting concept. I love the idea of trying to fulfill a player fantasy, right? Like owning a restaurant is something that a lot of people would love to do, and you're given the opportunity to experience that. Obviously, running a business is going to have a lot of math. So I think it's a really nice integration of math with your core concept. I think you could have been a little bit more explicit about the precise moment to moment sort of things you would encounter. Like, will I have to think anything about the food that's selected in the menu? Will we have to make the food? Will I have to worry about how many customers are coming in? I think that's an opportunity to think a little bit more. The other side of it is that I really think your social angle is very interesting. Trying to figure out how to feed people out of the restaurant. I think an interesting angle you may want to consider pursuing there is trying to figure out how you can tie the money the restaurant makes to their role in social justice within the community. How can actually giving back to those less fortunate make the restaurant more profitable, or like trying to establish some kind of relationship between the money the restaurant makes with the social change that the restaurant's bringing. Those are really complex, sort of deep topics to think about and dive into. But I think that's a good thing for you because it means you got a lot to work with. So, really good job. I think you did a good job explaining things. And I can definitely imagine playing this game. I think, it's an interesting concept, and I hope you continue running with it.
Thank you so much.
I have one comment.
Okay.
The name of the game is Charity Changes. We would expect that the charity portion of the game would have a much larger role. So that's just one bit of feedback.
Okay, awesome. Judges, any additional feedback? I want to make sure I give you guys all ample time. Okay, thank you so much. And we are going to move to our second presentation, which was jurisdiction. Judges, please provide feedback for the game jurisdiction.
All right, so just making sure this is about the amount of time you wanted to suspend, right? Like content-wise, or should we be going deeper or keep it a little lighter?
No, I think what you guys did for the first presentation was perfect. So
great.
Oh, Stuart, if you don't mind, we did forget to mention one thing on charity changes. Visual aids.
Yeah, visual aids, yes.
Helpful. Yep, so just something to give us a better idea of the storyline and a better idea of just the gameplay in general.
Okay, thank you so much for that.
So on jurisdiction, I have to admit, I actually completely fell in love with this pitch. I think it's a spectacular concept, and I really hope that you actually make this game. I really encourage you to do it. You know, it's not perfect. There's a lot you've still got to work out, but like the idea you presented was so exciting to me that I immediately started thinking about it, not as like an elementary school game concept, but as like, how could this actually be made? And I honestly mean that as high praise. That is not something I encounter much. A million people tell me their ideas for games. It's very rare that one like actually fires me up and kind of touches me. So, you know, personally, you blew me away there. You know, but with the competition and the judging criteria that we've got here, you know, I feel like on the presentation, you know, the video was nice way to kind of get it concise, and you mentioned your nerves, maybe that helped with your nerves, but I think that this is such a powerful concept that like you really just need to try to lose yourself in it and just go all in on that excitement and try to convey that to us, because I know you've got it in there somewhere. And I think really trying to lean in on that and try to speak from the heart, I think could really help. You know, the story, amazing, really great theme. You know, there are I'm blanking on the name, but there are some good sort of courtroom lawyer games. The Ace Attorney games are a good thing to kind of look at as references on how you might explore like playable mechanics here to get the game a lot more fleshed out. The math incorporation felt a little light, like it wasn't quite integrated. You know, honestly, I hope you keep investing in this. And really the social side of it is what got me excited and interested. I think it could be a really powerful game. The math, it felt a little forced to try to get it into the idea the way you had it. But, you know, but it's still interesting. Social change, really incredible, obviously. To me at least. And then the rules and objectives, I think you needed a lot more clarity here. A lot of what got me excited was imagining all the things that could be done with this concept. And I think you needed to flesh out your vision for this concept a lot more. I think that's where this game could be really, really powerful, is if you're able to sort of bring your perspective to it and you know, help the player understand where you're coming from as a creator by what you're asking them to do and think about in the process of playing it. But really cool. I'm excited to see what you do. I hope you'll join the industry one day, honestly.
All right, thank you so much for that. We are going to move into our third presentation, and the judges will be providing feedback for the game Solar Vaccination.
Solar Vaccination, you guys had a great presentation. It was really well put together. It was very concise. The visual aids were solid. It was very easy to understand, both for people that know a lot about games and you know, people who are less used to judging games. I think it all came across really clearly what you guys were trying to do. So I commend you there. You know, I think it's, you know, Among Us is a really popular game that a lot of people are excited about, and you guys drew some obvious inspirations from that game. I think it's interesting mechanically, like some of the ideas that you guys brought on how you were going to change up the flow with Among Us. I would encourage you, like if you were actually trying to build this game, I think it's important to actually build some of these mechanics out and try them out. I think you'll find that you know, particularly having different character classes for the characters is really interesting, but it may actually make it a little bit trivial to figure out who the imposter is based on, you know, what you're seeing the other players do. So that may be kind of an odd mixture of different gameplay ideas. Definitely try it out though and prove me wrong and see if you can find something that's even more fun. The other side of it is the social change. It wasn't really clicking quite for me. Like, you know, obviously COVID is a huge deal that we've all been dealing with for this entire year, but it felt a little bit forced with the other gameplay mechanics, not quite the best integration. But, you know, solving math problems, and then I liked how you integrated that content, and having the getting the question wrong being something the imposter wants. Like, I actually think that's really interesting, because, you know, people could naturally just make mistakes, and then having to talk about it and justify that, no, really, I made a mistake versus I was sabotaging is a pretty interesting social dynamic there to me. So I think that's cool and worth further exploration. But all in all, you know, good job communicating. Particularly those visual aids. Everybody else, like, visual aids really helped. Their slides were great. They were concise, to the point. We could all follow along. That's really helpful when you're pitching ideas. So props for that.
Awesome. All right, thank you so much. And we are going to move right along to our middle school game, the social math game.
Yeah. So the social math game, you got a nice kind of classic format of the quiz game. I think that, you know, one thing that you really want to think about there is that quiz games that work really well, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is like You Don't Know Jack is a PC title. And a lot of what it's about is about entertainment. It's about quick pacing, kind of moving things along. But it's also about like giving people to talk about, to have something to talk about while they're playing together. It's a social activity, really. And a lot of what a trivia game is about is, you know, being surprised by what your friends know, or being surprised what you know, because you may not even remember that you remember these sort of things. And with a social trivia game, I think that it's really about being a conversation starter, right? Like, it's, you know, it's not about entertainment necessarily. It's about, you know, bringing up a topic and getting people discussing it and thinking about it. But, you know, with the way you presented the math and the social, your example actually was a good illustration of how you could integrate social and math. But when you explained it, you talked about them being very separate things. So I think it's worth really thinking about how you can get those to work together, so that the math and the social are sort of impossible to split apart. It's one seamless sort of connection. And, you know, if you can do that well, I think what's going to happen is that, you know, the math is actually kind of like a way to get people into the social. Like, they're solving the problem, and in the process of solving the problem, it gets them talking about the deeper issues. And I think that could be interesting. The other side is, you know, from a presentation standpoint, a lot of words on the slide. It makes it hard to parse the slides. So you try to pare down to just the key points. But I think a major thing, though, is particularly when you're presenting an idea, you want to you know, show, don't tell. And you started your presentation kind of telling us like what we should feel and why you were qualified to talk about it and all that kind of stuff. When really, I think it may be stronger to just go right into the idea and talk about what you're excited about, and let us as the viewer kind of make our own conclusions about how we should feel about it afterwards.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that feedback. And we just have one more presentation, and that's going to be for our hospital sim game. And judges, can you please provide feedback for that game?
Sure thing. The hospital sim, first of all, like how you describe it being, you know, kind of like a persistent MMO sort of a game where everybody's playing a different role in a hospital. That's actually really interesting. I have not seen a game that explored that particular side of the world, and I think it could work. There's a lot of really distinct roles in a hospital that could be represented with a bunch of different mechanics. But I think you would really want to focus on making each person's experience different. And I think one of the missed opportunities was trying to explore, what does it feel like to be a manager at a hospital? What does it feel like to be a surgeon at a hospital? You were speaking specifically about, how you wanted to be a surgeon, and you mentioned how you can't make mistakes in a hospital. Well, please, put that in the mechanics. Make the mistakes really high stakes, so that if I make an error, it really costs me. And then throw some time pressure in there on top of it. Make the player squirm, because that's what it's like to be a surgeon. And then have other roles in the hospital that aren't, don't have quite that same momentum. Maybe they're instead, though, have more time to sort of think through and process, more in-depth information. So I think where I'm trying to go with this is that you don't just want to sort of replace what people do in the hospital with math problems. Instead, think about how each person's job works differently, how they're having to think differently while they're doing those jobs, and then try to pair some of those questions to complement that feeling. And I think you'll end up with something that has a lot more staying power. Because, if nothing else, I'm interested in trying the different roles and kind of feeling out what the different jobs are going to be like. And, particularly, I think there's a lot of opportunity for the team dynamics. So I really like that you're talking about bringing multiple people together to do this as a team, because, a hospital is often a team. So I think that's an interesting thing to keep exploring. Yeah, so I think that covers everything we wanted to get to. Oh, the social side, a hospital is obviously a social, there's healthcare in general has a lot of social implications, but I didn't hear you speak a lot about how this game particularly was going to address any of those problems. So I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on how you were going to use this hospital sim to explore our larger sort of social issues that we face, particularly in the United States right now.
Awesome. All right, judges, thank you so much for your feedback. Again, students, thank you so much for your presentations. We are about to wrap things up, but before we do, I'm just gonna bring back our coordinator for mathematics, Dr. Clark.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. I just want to say thank you again to our judges. I know you guys, we went through all of our trivia questions and all of the students' questions because of the time that you guys spent really thinking through and digging through their presentations and their written forms that they sent and talking about what you heard. And I'm hoping that our students, I just wanted to share with our students to really take that feedback and keep working on the games. What you submitted was very creative, very thoughtful, very interesting, concepts, and the feedback that you just got will help you to take this and build it into something that could actually be at some point, played as a video game. So I'm hoping that you will take that and keep working on your product. And one of the things I did want to share is that Legends of Learning, they do a national game challenge just like this one that you can submit that same game to. So keep working on the game and build it up, make the build in the feedback that was provided, and hang on to it to submit to the national competition as well, so that we can get you showcased at the national level. So I wanted to make sure that you guys realize, don't take what you have and keep building on it and use that feedback that you receive. These games, I know when we were going through them, all we kept saying is, I want to play this game. So every one of them, they kind of gave you a sense of you wanted to kind of play them and try them. So I just wanted to just let you know that. Look for the opportunity to share them on that national level with Legends of Learning's challenge that they have as well, and use that feedback that you just got. And thank you thank you, judges, for that feedback. Marsha, I'll turn it back to you.
All right. So guys, our winners will be announced at the Make Math Matter celebration, all right? So please join us on May 25th at 11 a.m. for the Make Math Matter celebration. Here, we will recognize students who have competed throughout the month of March Madness and announce all of the winners for all of the games. We look forward to seeing you then. And we just want to give a special thank you to our principals, coaches, teachers, parents. We would also like to recognize our assistant superintendent of curriculum instruction and assessment, Dr. Ebony Lee. Also our planning committee and our volunteers. And last but not least, we would like to send a special thank you to our judges, our district leadership, Dr. Beasley, Dr. Simpson, and our Board of Education. From the CCPS Math Department, we appreciate your support. Thank you all for joining us today. And thank you all for
before we close, would Dr. Lee, if you would like to share anything?
Oh, yes, I would love to, Dr. Clark. Hello, everyone. Hello, scholars. Oh, they're all muted. So thank you, Dr. Clark, and your dynamic team for always, as we probably heard a lot of times, making math matter. I had an opportunity to catch the tail end. I'm listening to Stuart just talk about the benefits of this process. And what I admire about Dr. Clark and her team is that they continuously bring relevant experiences to our students so they know the importance of math and all the other skills that they're learning. And so just thank you, scholars, for stepping out there. These type of competitions, you don't have to do it. You don't have to take initiative and really exert yourself for problem solving and addressing real issues through whether it's gaming or other aspects. But by you doing it, it says a lot about who you are. And your future is definitely bright. So I just commend you. Congratulations. Congratulations to our winners. And you all continue to make math matter so you can make a lot of money later in life. So thank you all so much. And Dr. Clark or Marsha Lee, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. You snuck in. I did not see you come in there. So we thank you so much for your kind words. And again, just want to send a special thanks to everyone who joined us here today. We really appreciate you guys. And we are so excited to see you guys all again at the Make Math Matter celebration. Again, that is on May 25th at 11 a.m. Thank you all, and we will kick back and stay if there are any questions, but you are free to go. If not.
Thank you all.
Thank you.